This counter almost broke me when I was 7 years old. And it took months to get it right. At 7 months is an eternity. But I persevered because my father demanded it. And it taught me so many lessons as I worked through that shaped my life all the way to today. And I want to share it with you. So it took months to learn, and it was difficult. But the advantage and the lessons that I learned later in life were so valuable that I can't even express it. But I'll save that to the end of the video. I learned under my father, who's the founder of the United System of Eskrima. And it was really difficult. He was very, you need to step right here. It was very difficult because he was constantly scrutinizing every detail. And when you're 7, it's pretty difficult for you to go through that because nothing's ever quite right. So you don't want to blind yourself, right? So when you strike me here, right, you want to be here. You don't want to be here because then you can't see, right? You need to be able to see. And so I experienced a lot of frustration from that because I looked up to my father and I wanted to learn from him, and I wanted to make sure I did it right every time. You need to wait longer before you do your count, right? So going through that at the age of 7, let alone the age of 29, right, is difficult because that scrutiny gets to be a little bit worrisome, especially at the age of 7, right? Wait longer. But once you get it, the amazing feeling of doing it right, not because you've practiced enough to do it right, because you've practiced it enough so that you can't do it wrong, right? And it doesn't matter how hard he would hit, how fast he would hit. It didn't matter if he did something like, say, before it, and then he did it. I was more prepared, and it took time, right? You don't want to reach out like that, right? You need to be, there you go. Good. Do it again. Good. One more time. Okay. So it's very frustrating to work through all those things and be scrutinized at all the time. But the value of that, as we persevere, can't be put in numbers. It's invaluable, especially to someone growing up and learning from someone. So while all of that frustration was there, it was something that I could learn and I could become better at, and then later perhaps come close to some kind of perfection. And it took years for me to get there. But it was those first months learning just this counter, the simplest of counters. Only 7 movements, right? So he does this, have you do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So let me do it myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on guard, right? So only these 7 movements. And yet, when you're 7 years old, 7 movements over several months might as well be 7 eternities. Now, the name of this counter in the United Serrada Eskrima style or system is called shoulder counter. It's because I'm taking it on the shoulder. That might be one way to do it. The motion itself is this motion here, or it's similar to it. It could also be expressed this way. So I could be coming through here and doing it this way as well, right? And it's only 7 movements. I come through here and I lift this up and I bring it up forward here as I step in and defend against that strike here. And I make sure that this is nice and high so I can cover the top of my head. I'm striking and I'm checking and I'm locking. And these are preparatory motions or habit-forming exercises that develop me so that when my opponent strikes more than once, it doesn't stop and let me practice on him, but actually fights and resists against me. I'm prepared because I've already have a plan to execute, right? It's so difficult because articulating your arm around this to make this, to do all this stuff, very, very difficult. And yet it's only 7 motions, 7 simple motions. It took several months to learn. And now that I teach it where I bring it up through the center and it's palm up, and then I push out this way and I come through here. Now, we call it shoulder counter. My Uncle Danny, he calls it a wing block, right? And so many of the people that do the Nosano Kali will call it a wing counter or a wing block. And that's a good enough name as any, right? The one that I thought was most interesting was Pluma, as if I was holding a pen. Because what I am doing is holding it very much like I would hold a pen as I do it. Now, the amazing thing is, detractors will tell you it doesn't work. They'll say that the grip is not strong enough, and I believe that too, especially when I was 7. So I can understand why other people would believe it too, but I was forced to learn more. I was forced to practice it more deeply And now it's one of the most common counters I see Serrata players in general, and certainly myself, and most especially my father and Grandmaster Angel Cabal, his teacher, would use this counter quite often. I think that someone who was essentially the architect for FMA in the United States, in terms of the influence that he had at the beginning of the FMA culture, its diaspora, if you will, in the United States, and the father of Filipino martial arts in the United States, great Grandmaster Angel Cabal, think that this counter and use this counter a lot, given the reputation of great Grandmaster Angel Cabal as someone who fought many challenge matches, would lay some credence. But if you don't believe it, try it. And if you don't want to try it, then you don't get the benefit of perseverance. You don't get the benefit of determination and powering through something that's quite difficult. This counter is actually quite easy to do now, even though it's only 7 motions, and it teaches a lot about how to do eskrima or how to do serrada eskrima very effectively. So the shoulder counter is 7 movements, and the way it works is I'm going to step in at this line. So I'm not stepping at him. So if you look at the line on the floor, I'm actually straddling the line, and I'm going to step across that line. Patrick is also straddling the line when he starts, right? So he's here, and he's going to do a high backhand strike aimed at the base of my neck. It's diagonal downward strike with the blade that would cut from the shoulder to the hip, or from the shoulder to the foot if it's a long enough blade, right? And with a stick, it's a crushing blow to the temple, the jawline, or the clavicle. So he strikes, and I'm going to stop that force by moving forward, and the hand comes straight out. I don't do this. This will never work. It's too slow, right? It needs to come everything in a straight line. The straightest line from point A to point B is the quickest and most efficient. It's a little bit of Occam's razor for those of you who are more educated, right? So I come through here and stop here, and then this is lifting here as high as I can get it, preferably. In this case, I'm wearing a watch. My father would be very mad about that, but I'm wearing a watch. I have it at my eye level, so that way I'm properly here. You'll see some people that have it down here. That's a little bit less than ideal. So I want to be up here. I want to come through here. This is a drawback. I'm pre-stretching the muscle of my pec as I rotate and fire this forward for the strike. Here, and I'm checking and then I'm locking. The old way could be interpreted this way, where I'm coming through here and I'm hitting and then flip hitting here, or I'm hitting here and then flip hitting here, but we don't practice on each other's head. We practice here, that way I can touch, right? So that's an important aspect of the 9, what makes this different. So he strikes me, I do my defense, and I come through here. Now the timing shouldn't be this, it should be virtually one motion or one beat here. And then I'm drawing back, striking, checking. Right. People find this difficult because of this articulation here. It's difficult to get this. So you have to have a certain amount of wrist strength and flexibility. But the interesting thing is, go ahead and hit me hard, Patrick. Right? So most people are really worried about this falling out of my hand. It's actually a pretty firm grip, right, for me to use in this, especially because this is mostly the block. So the thing about this counter is, this is mostly the block, this is the control latch, because there's momentum here. And it'll continue to move if I don't stop it in some way. And so I apply leverage this way. This allows me to defend myself against the strike. This can be quite devastating strike to deal with, and it's naturally the second strike for those who are less skilled. They'll start with a 1 or 4-hand strike, and they come with some kind of backhand, usually high because they're headhunters. For the more skilled, this can be a very quick lashing strike, and it's perfect for the orbit or for the temple because it's very quick. So what's happening is when he strikes, I want to be quick about this. And when I get this in here, and then I'm here like this, 7 movements just like that. So this is doing the block. This is drawing for the counter attack. Now those first 2 or 3 movements are the fighting technique. So he comes through here, and I go like this here, and then this is the follow-up. What happens if he blocks? Because he gets the block, right? But I'm practicing. Right now I'm just practicing. I'm going to hit, and then I check, and block. Now, I wouldn't hit here or hit there, because this is probably not going to be here. So what if he blocks? So I come through here, you get the block this time. Here I go like this, and here, bang, there's my foot hit, or that checking motion, so that I can take that hand off, right? I can at least hurt it, if not destroy it. So I'm already calculating if he blocks. If he doesn't block, I hit him. If he does block, I hit him, right? And we translate this in Filipino martial arts to actually doing it with a knife or doing it with a blade or doing it empty hand. The same concepts translate, not necessarily the same movements, right? The biggest lesson that I learned from this wasn't that I could defend against a hit, let alone any of the hits, right? It wasn't necessarily the technique itself, although it's useful. And being able to defend yourself is extremely useful. It is one of the values of learning how to use your body and your mind to defend yourself and to stand up for yourself. But it was the perseverance, the patience, and the precision. I mean, the catch has to be just so. And my hand placement has to be just so. And the timing of my step and my catch has to be just so to make that work. It was that precision, that perseverance, and the patience that it took that allowed me to really move forward in life, later in life, in terms of all of those values. And my father impressed upon me this idea that we don't just train to fight, we train for life. If you like this kind of content and you want to learn more about Filipino martial arts, definitely click the link in the description. We have some courses there. There's a free community for you to join with a free mobile app, and we'll see you inside. Welcome to the tribe.